The Netherlands was very active in the age of exploration and focused mainly on trade throughout North America and Asia. Gerardus Mercator was a Flemish geographer who created the Mercator projection. The purpose of this projection was to get the most accurate map of Earth on a flat surface. This was extremely helpful to captains because the projection displayed the exact north and south lines, so captains always knew which direction to land the masses were. Today, the Mercator projection is the standard projection for flat world maps. Henry Hudson was hired by the Dutch from England to go to the New World and discover the Hudson River Basin. Hudson was the first explorer working for the Dutch to establish a colony in North America called the New Netherlands. The Dutch wanted Hudson to find a water passage through North America for trade purposes. Within a few years of Hudson's discovery, the Netherlands had established the mainland colony of New Netherlands. This piece of land stretched from the mouth of the Hudson as far north as Albany, New York. Willem Janszoon was the first European explorer to set foot on the island of Australia. He was able to reach Australia from the Dutch settlement in Indonesia. After the Dutch reached Australia, thanks to Willem, Dirk Hartog began to map portions of Western Australia. Finally, Abel Tasman from the Dutch East India Company discovered the islands of Tasmania, New Zealand, Tonga, and Fiji. Janszoon, Hartog, and Tasman were all explorers from the Dutch East India Company. The Dutch East India Company was the largest trading company in the world in the 1600s and pushed the other big countries out of present-day Indonesia. The Dutch East India Company held a monopoly in the Indian Ocean from South Africa to Fiji and north to Indonesia. They also had strong trading ties to Japan, more so than any other European country. To concentrate on spice trade in India in the mid-17th century and to control trade routes in the Indian Ocean, the Dutch seized fortresses in Moluccas and pushed the Portuguese out of spice trade. For 50 years, the Dutch occupied these coastal forts along trade routes throughout the Indian Ocean, including Ceylon, and seized Malacca in 1641. People in Asia were affected by the Dutch more than any other country at the time because they were not kicked out by the Asian government. The Dutch were the only people allowed to trade in Japan because they restrained themselves from pushing their religion on the native Japanese. In Japan, Catholic missionaries from Spain and Portugal provoked a strong reaction against the presence of Westerners. However, the Dutch had not allowed for missionary activities to interfere with their trade interests. The Netherlands were able to establish a strong trade bond with Asian countries because of their control over Indonesia and tended to focus on this region because of the accessibility.